Here at Handpicked Wine with Peter Dillon, the chief winemaker, and Duncan Buchanan of Invicta and Bucher Vaslin dealership in the Mornington Peninsula and for Victoria. So we're here to talk to Peter about his new equipment that he has put in place for this year, Vintage 2020, and to share his experience.
Yeah, so you've recently upgraded, Pete, from you went to the E2 evolution to stemmer with an Rflow sorting table at the end of your front-end processing. What were you aiming to achieve by getting those pieces of equipment on board?
I'd say for us it was really a very big shift in direction. We've got very much a focus on Pinot Noir for this site particularly. Previously we had a very labour-intensive level of sorting, which was also built around a fairly basic and rudimentary destemming system, which was pretty rough and ready. So really it was a big shift in terms of direction and fine-tuning our sorting capacity.
And that sort of worked into your winemaking philosophy of trying to be less hands-on with just trying to let the fruit do the work and just being much more gentle with your fruit, is that correct?
Ultimately, yeah. I mean, we capacity to fine-tune that selection of the ideal fruit and berries right through that system made the big difference for me. Which equipment? We basically upgraded the whole receival area. So we had the hopper and vibrating table, which is I think the TRV.
Yep.
Can't remember which number. And that then went through into the evolution destemmer, and that then went across the Rflow table. So from what was quite a rough Italian destemmer and hands-on manual sorting process, that was a huge change. And seeing the berries that did come through just being beautifully intact, pristine berries, really made a huge difference. It was like a giant bin of caviar. All the berries were intact, beautifully consistent, and exactly what we're looking for. So on that front, extremely happy. I think here we do not just Pinot from different sites, but also a number of different varieties.
Yeah.
So having the capacity to change the cage configuration within the evolution destemmer was extremely useful, and that's part of that nuancing or to find that perfect configuration to get the perfect result. I think that meant that we had, as an example, just as good a result with the Shiraz as we did with Pinot, and we'd be changing the cages and paddles on that, so that was definitely worthwhile. And I think probably just investing that time in that first week to really learn how to use the gear was probably critical as well.
Okay.
I'm sure if needs be, you could definitely run it yourself, but I think with that sort of an investment, we were keen to learn as much as we could in an inclusive way as possible. So Invicta were on board right through that process for the first week and there, any other time we would need, because I think just there are so many little changes that you can make at so many different points in that operation that it was best to have